Hello friends, it is Kelly and I am going to be using this sketch from Scrapbook sketch created by Lisa Sikorski today to create my layout. This is a layout about spring and part of a challenge over there at the Scrapbook sketch Facebook group. So I highly encourage you to go check it out for lots of inspiration and awesome sketches. Okay, so I am using Garden Party by Maggie Holmes to create this layout because whenever I think of spring, I I think about the Maggie Holmes and flowers and pastel pretty colors and so this is what I think about. And so this is what I reached for whenever I saw this was a challenge for a spring type layout. And I'm just trying to figure out what patterns I want to use for the parts of the sketch. And I stick pretty close to the sketches as much as possible whenever I'm doing one of these layouts. So it was a little bit crooked and I wasn't happy with how I laid that down, even with using a ruler. Sometimes, and here I'm just like, okay, no ruler. I seem to do worse when I have a ruler. So I'm going ahead and layering up some of the pattern papers and trying to decide on the direction I want to go with this layout. Up there at the top, you can see the photos that I will be using. Those were taken in Fort Worth at the Botanical Gardens with my oldest daughter and I. This was right before the world went to full stop during the pandemic. This was in like the summer of 2019. So the last normal summer that we've had in quite a while. And so I pulled out the 6x6 paper pad I like using those from some of my layering pieces just because the scale of the patterns is a little smaller. And it just, to me, it looks better sometimes to have a smaller scale pattern when you're doing some layering like I am here. And I first thought I was just going to mat the photo with the pink, but then I kind of laid it against the other layers and felt like it needed more of a contrast against all those highly patterned designs I have beneath. And I'm using some of the ephemera from the cut apart sheets to layer instead of a tag. In the sketch you see that was a tag right there at the left corner of the photo. So, but I just used these receipts and I guess it's like a receipt, a ledger, just grids to lay down just because I liked that it wasn't, they're not so busy against the floral pattern. So I'm over here on the right top side of the paper now and layering some strips, and I'm basically just repeating the same patterns that I've already used and just creating a little cluster of strips right there at the top, and I love how that looks. So yeah, these were taken at the Botanical Gardens. It was so gorgeous there, and I have a trip planned for this summer to go back to Fort Worth just because I love nature and I love looking around the gardens, and it was sweet of my daughter to go with me this time because that's probably not her favorite thing to do, but they do it for their mama. So, and I'm just going to use some of the what do you call it, thicker pieces to embellish with, and some cut apart, and of course florals. And I love those bows in the Maggie Holmes collections, but I rarely use them, so I was kind of determined I'm going to use those little bows. And I have two up there later, a gold one and a yellow one up at the top right by the strips. But I'm not going to stick with that. I'm going to change it a little bit. And since we were at the gardens, I thought the little wildflower ephemera went really well there on the left hand side. And I do end up getting a tag in here. It's just not where it's shown in the sketch, which is fine. You don't have to stick directly to a sketch, but use it mainly for inspiration. I like to stick pretty close to the sketch when I'm doing these, just so that it's recognizable as part of the challenge and not just some random layout that I said, oh yeah, I used the sketch, but you can't tell. And I want to make sure that Lisa Sikorski gets all that credit that she deserves, because she's awesome. And she puts these out here, all these sketch ideas out there for free, and so she deserves all the credit for those. I love working from a sketch. Especially if I'm kind of stumped where I want to start. I love sketches, and I love people who make sketches because they make my life easier. So I just decided to go with the gold vellum bow up there at the top. And I incorporated the gold title. And of course, I'm not done embellishing because I need more. I like the look of layers and clusters and dimension. So I'm going to get as much on there as I can without it looking too crazy. I keep going back to the idea of layering bows, but in the end I'm just not happy with that look, and it ends up being, you'll see in a minute. And I'm using some of my puffy stickers. Those are the smaller embellishments that I like to use as kind of confetti pieces. And I have one tiny little puffy sticker bird down there in the flower cluster, which I think is super cute. Probably not to scale, but that's okay. And I'm going to add some foam tape to a few of the ephemera pieces because I like that lift off of the page. I don't like the shadow that it gives. It just gives it another layer of dimension. And I'm going through this sticker book that I believe I got at Michael's. But the sticker book matches really, some of these elements match really well with the Maggie Holmes collections. And those little gold sprigs, leaf sprigs, I just wanted to tuck in just so I had gold represented in each of the clusters. I'm going through, and then I have this one gold border strip that I'm going to use across there at the bottom. And this is my new favorite date stamp. This is from the Aspen collection from Felicity Jane. I just like the font, and I like that it's different than what I've been using for the past couple of years. So, change is good. So that's one thing I love about Felicity Jane, which I just resubscribed to their kit club, is you get a stamp set with everyone, and they're always the most useful stamps. So this one I did not get the kit with. The Aspen kit has been a while back, but I did order that stamp set separately just because I love it. I wanted the bird there, but he just didn't. He was facing the wrong direction. And then my last little touch, I believe, is to add this pink twine. I just needed a little bow to finish off that tag. And I just love the little extra detail that gives. And of course I have to add a little more glue so it stays where I want it to stay. Okay, that is it. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload my next video.